All right, welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Yes, indeed, we're turning attention to Taraba politics. And as you've seen there, Ibrahim El-Sudi joins us next. He is the chairman of APC Taraba State and former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Taraba State. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning. Thank you.
Well, so many things appear unclear at the moment because yesterday, for instance, the Presidential Campaign Council for the APC in Taraba State was launched. But there are different signals as to what is going on because there are reports about some persons going on and tearing up posters, several people disagreeing with what happened, saying, no, that could not have happened, that committee did not do its due diligence, while others say, no, the committee was actually inaugurated and things stand. So from your perspective as the chairman, what is the current position of things now?
Well, let me foray into the antecedents or give a synopsis of what transpired as regards to the Presidential Campaign Committee in Taraba State. When somewhere, I think sometimes early in October, the list of those that are members of the Presidential Campaign Committee, those heading departments of the campaign committee, and other notable individuals that were supposed to participate in the committee were issued out by the Presidential Campaign Committee. Now, we realized that Taraba had no coordinator. It was written pending. And I quickly rushed to the Presidential Campaign Office. I met the secretary of the committee, Abiodun Falake, and inquired why Taraba does not have a coordinator. And he quickly replied that it is due to the fact that just some few days ago, the Federal High Court, Jalingo, had nullified the primary election of All Progressives Congress in Taraba State. And therefore, it will be foolhardy for them to give the candidate, Senator Emmanuel Bacha, the coordinatorship. And I genuinely and instantly told him that the Minister of Transportation, Engineer Moazu Jaji Sambo, is qualified to coordinate the Presidential Campaign Council until issues are resolved in court. He did not say anything, but shortly thereafter, on the 20th of October, Moazu Jaji's name appeared as the coordinator. And I was very happy. And I texted him congratulating him for his appointment. Little did I know that there will be problems. Instantly, just some few days, he now requested for names, nominees for campaign council members. A letter was written to me, or a text was written to me that I should nominate 5 people. The gubernatorial candidate was requested to give 5 names. Some senatorial candidates were requested to give 2 names, some 1 names. But there are some people who were requested to give 10 names. My expectation was that as the coordinator, the Minister of Transportation and the coordinator for Taraba State will invite all members, because we have categories of members. We have automatic members. I, as the chairman of the party, am an automatic member.
Is it the same thing for the EXCO in the state?
No, it is not the same thing for the EXCO. But for the chairman, state chairman, they are automatic members. Then we have candidates who emerge in the primary election as members of the PCC. We equally have former governors and deputy governors, former deputy governors, as members of the campaign council. And then we have speakers and deputy speakers, if they exist in that state, or the, officials of the House of Assembly, the principal officers, as members of the campaign council.
Did you write him to notify him that this is what the procedure is expected to be?
Well, I didn't write him, but I expected he should know that these are the compositions. But I discussed with one of his PS. I made frantic efforts to meet him. We even fixed one day, but he disappointed.
To discuss the same matter?
To discuss this matter. He could not give me audience at all. Several times I attempted to see him. He locked me up. For goodness sake, I'm the state chairman. And I see no reason why he should not invite me. For whatever reason, he should have invited me for a discussion on how do we go about this issue. He did not. And all those automatic members were never ever called. Maybe some of them were called, but majority of them were not called. Not a single candidate was invited for any meeting. Then on the 25th of November, he wrote a letter which I received on the 2nd of November that...
Who signed it? Was he the one that signed the letter?
Somebody signed for him.
Okay.
Informing me that the State Executive Committee have been appointed as members of the Presidential Campaign Committee in Taraba State in advisory capacity. If we are to advise you, you are supposed to call us so that we sit down on a round table, discuss on the blueprint of how to go about the campaign.
So is it the one titled Appointment of Taraba State APC Exco as members of the Taraba State Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Council?
Exactly. So he never called us for any meeting. Then suddenly, on 16th, one of his PS, Umar, called me to tell me that the campaign council will be inaugurated on 18th. That is yesterday, Sunday. I said, how
But there was a letter to that effect, wasn't it?
There was no letter to that effect. I asked him, why did you not write? He said he had the letter since in the morning. I said, this is around 8 o'clock. I said, why are you telling me this?
So did you see any letter signed by Right Honorable Jerry Manwe, State Deputy Coordinator?
I only saw it on the social media.
You didn't receive it?
I didn't receive it. And I made an inquiry at the State Secretariat whether anybody collected such a letter. Nobody collected.
Because it was addressed to the chairman, All Progressive Congress, Taraba State, Jalingo.
Yes. I saw it on social media. You didn't receive it? I didn't receive it. And in fact, in my own culture, I sign to receive any letter that is written to me. So nobody ever gave me, So we were shocked and surprised. We now had to go on social media as they did to tell them of our displeasure that there was no wild consultation.
Why social media?
Why social media? Because it was in the night. And therefore, we could not write anybody, we could not write the minister any letter.
You said you were able to reach Mr. Faleke and recommended and suggested that the minister be the state coordinator.
Yes, so he was my colleague in the National Assembly.
So why couldn't you reach him with a call rather than go to social media?
In fact, we saw it on a social media. Since they have bypassed us, we equally had to, act the way they acted. And I was inundated with calls from my Christian brothers. I am a Muslim. They said, why do you fix inauguration of a campaign on a Sunday? I didn't have any answer. So we had to write another letter showing our disdain that we are not a party to what was going on.
Who did you write this one to?
We didn't write specifically to anybody. It was a press release signed by my secretary. And, what even disturbed us is the composition of the Presidential Campaign Council in Taraba State, the coordinator, being the minister, is from Jalingo, northern Taraba. The deputy is from Karim Lamido, northern Taraba. The secretary of the committee is his cousin, Barrister MB Mustafa, from Jalingo. I mean, if there were consultations and meetings, this wouldn't have arisen. But the youth leader equally was from northern Taraba, and the organizing secretary too.
Did you see the response to the letter that you wrote, where they said, well, while the state exco has a right to raise some issues, but that they also did say that the attention has been drawn to recent publication by Honorable Fidelis Francis. You're aware of that letter?
I'm aware of that. I saw that letter.
Did you authorize that letter?
I authorized the letter written by the secretary, and they responded immediately, denying those things we raised.
Yeah, because they said that while the State Campaign Council of the party has immense respect for all its members, it will, however, refuse to tolerate such publication which is geared to stunt the party's growth and also undermine all necessary efforts of maintaining their fair and just system. So the party frowns at the measures, the strategy that you adopted to address.
Which party?
The party, this was signed by Muazu himself.
Well, I did not see that letter, but he's just trying to defend himself. He never called any meeting. He appointed a coordinator in northern Taraba. This is somebody who contested an election.
This is a letter which you say you didn't see. That's the one on the screen now. That was directed to you, which you say you didn't get a copy.
I didn't get it.
Ask anybody.
I didn't get it. Now they appointed a coordinator to coordinate the activities of the PCC in northern Taraba. A candidate, a senatorial aspirant, who was declared the candidate, but somebody else took him to court, and his election was nullified. You now make him a coordinator to superintend over an election which he has been, booted out by the court. Okay, the same thing with Southern Taraba, where DSK, who incidentally was the person, that is Davis Abokente, who incidentally was the person that took Imabacha to court, was given the coordinator for Southern Taraba. And he did say in this studio that he had his own candidate, that there was no contact by the party at the national level, and therefore he had his own candidate for senatorial seat. Okay, and you give him coordinator in the Southern Taraba, he will work against our candidates. Our candidates are supposed to participate because they have a stake in the campaigns and the elections that will take place in 2023.
Let's see if you understand what your bone of contention is. First, are you upset that he, the Minister of Transport, is the state coordinator? You're okay with that because you recommended it?
I initially recommended, but his recent behaviors, attitudes, and dispositions towards certain people,
so the key thing now
leaves much to be desired.
So the key thing now is that those in the camp of Senator Boacha were not reached out to become part of this team. That's where the problem is.
That is where the problem is. As the party chairman, that is where the problem is. Those that support the candidate of the party is not Imabacha's camp, but APC's camp. But because we have a candidate.
You also alluded to the fact that there are still court cases right now. So is it going to be a good decision to bring in people from his team? Because the party says, we'll wait until all court matters are sorted. So what if that's what the party wants to do? When all cases are resolved, then they can bring in several other people to the team.
As far as we are concerned, the Court of Appeal has made pronouncement that he is the candidate.
But there are still other cases
that are pending. There are other cases, they can never be different from this other case that has been decided.
But we cannot tell.
I believe that.
It's a belief, but we can't tell for sure because he also believed that he was not going to lose any of the cases in court, which
but
he lost.
For whatever it is worth, the minister has failed in his responsibilities as a coordinator, as a unifier. I thought he will unify the party.
Is that
bring
why,
all contending forces
is that why
within the party hierarchy? But he has failed to do that.
But is that why people then went and began to tear the posters that had the presidential candidates, the VP candidates, and some states candidates? They were tearing the poster that was put in place by Moazi
I believe
himself.
that was a setup, either by those that are supporting the minister or by PDP. I am not very sure. The police is investigating the issue. They just want to blackmail and paint Imabacha's camp black.
But you have heard that some of them say that it were people from Imabacha's
team. That is somebody
team
that was interviewed by Umar A. Umar, who is a PA to the honorable minister. Why can't they take him to the police? And from the grapevine, what I understand is that he was called upon to say what he said.
Called upon by who?
He was called upon by maybe Umar A. Umar, who interviewed him. As of today, he is not even in Jalingo. Why didn't they hand him over to the police?
But has he denied what he said ever since then?
Well, he denied it to some people, that because he was coming from PDP, and because of certain activities he did, they set him up that they will, Do
you have it on record, like the one he spoke previously?
No, I don't have that on record. I don't have that on record. But some of our people, our executives, reached out to him. He said he was compelled, he was cajoled, and hoodwinked into saying what he said.
All right, let's go to Lagos.
And more so, Imabacha's posters were equally torn on that same day.
By who?
By some people. I think they
were
not
the same person who spoke with the interview with the PA, as you said?
No, it is a different individual, but they are in the same group.
Okay. Go ahead, Ayo.
No, two questions for Mr. El-Sudi. You gave us a background to the current, impasse, so to speak. But did you see this situation coming? You nominated suggested the coordinator that was eventually put in place for the PCC in Taraba State. Did you see this? Was there a build-up to what is now playing out in Taraba State? Has there been some internal wrangling, some in-house displeasure within the APC in Taraba State before this that is playing out now?
It is a common knowledge that there were a lot of wranglings, a build-up to the primary election that took place that had our candidates. Some people were aggrieved. They were not happy. And some of them, like Senator Yusuf A. Yusuf, appeared in this studio. Chief David Sabo Kente appeared before this studio and ventilated their anger and dissatisfaction with what happened. But as an establishment person and as a law-abiding and legally minded person, I am bound by whatever transpired as a result of the committee that was set up by the National Secretariat. They called my name. I'm not ready to join issues with them because he who descends into the arena of a conflict will not escape the dust of the encounter, said Okuta JSC. Already I'm in the thick of this mess. It is as a build-off of the primary election that some people are dissatisfied, they are disenchanted, they are disgruntled, they are not happy with the emergence of certain people.
Yeah, just 1 second, Mr.
They gang up to frustrate what is happening.
Yeah.
Some of them,
on that case, just 1 second, Mr. El-Sudi, if you can hear me. I mean, you are the chairman of the state. You are a major stakeholder. I mean, I believe that you made that clear earlier in your conversation with us. One would expect that whatever it is that was happening within the APC in Taraba State will be under your purview. There are those who would wonder then, if these things are happening now and you are raising these issues that you are raising now, it would seem like you were superintending over a situation where you couldn't control and consequently the national body had to step in.
Well, I couldn't control because some people have made up their minds to fight me because of their perceived misconception that I am supporting a particular person or a particular group. And I was completely neutral. I did not appoint those who go to conduct election in Taraba State. I did not appoint any person. I was just a neutral person to supervise, or rather, to make those that went for the election, comfortable. Now, in this imbroglio, I was able to write the Director General of the Presidential Campaign Council, His Excellency Lalong. So most of them, they have been battling.
Okay.
They have been battling to get me removed.
Just one more
as
thing
the chairman. So they don't even recognize me as the chairman.
Just before we go, so as things stand today, are you going to be working for the presidential candidate via your party? That's the APC's PCC.
Obviously, we brought the presidential candidate. On the day of the election, most of them that are parading as conveyors or supporters of Asiwaju were not even in Eagle Square. Majority of them. And some of them that were there did not work for Asiwaju. It's a non-fact. And therefore, we are assiduously going to work for Tinubu.
All right, we need to...
And Shetima.
Ibrahim El-Sudi is the chairman, APC Taraba State, and former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Taraba State. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, you're welcome.
Well, we have reached out to the Minister of Transport, so we'll get him to also respond to some of the allegations made here, as you have heard, but that will be much later. We will be back in just a moment. We'll be talking about football, the recently concluded World Cup, all about that and more in just a moment. Stay with us.